Safe streets, vibrant neighborhoods, successful business and commerce. These are things that make a healthy community. We are a diverse community, rural, suburban, urban. A multitude of languages and ethnicities, ages and experiences. We are a collaborative community. Public-private partnerships make us a model community that others want to follow. It is what makes us unique. It is what makes us strong. The employees of Kent County reflect our diversity and seek to serve our communities.
People in this county, in this area, we wrap our arms around each other. We come together to collaborate, to solve problems. We're all working for the good of the whole. And I think that's wonderful. And you can see it. You can see it as you drive around Kent County.
Our impact starts the day a baby is born and a birth certificate is issued, to protecting children from deadly diseases through vaccination, to the public safety and justice provided by law enforcement and the courts, to offering veteran services and caring for the elderly. Every day we work to keep our communities robust.
I think if you are somebody who is interested in serving your community, in building a strong knowledge base and a good group of people to work with, then the county is one of your best employment opportunities out there. It's been completely rewarding in every way I could possibly explain for 26 years, and I feel like I grow every single day still today.
Leading these dedicated employees, our 19-member Board of Commissioners and our County Administrator Controller, along with our elected officials and appointed department directors, placing emphasis on civic involvement, quality housing, vibrant neighborhoods, and strong, solid infrastructure to allow businesses to thrive. Professional, dedicated, collaborative, and innovative.
Behind the scenes, collaboration between foundations, charitable organizations, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, public sector demonstrated through the county, the city of Grand Rapids, the townships, all the cities and the villages in our area. If we don't come together, then we will not have the strength that we have today, and I only hope to build upon that.
Our aim is to make our communities the best they can be. We are involved in exciting development projects, sustainable recycling programs, and creative progressive prevention programming. We partner with elected officials, impacting policy ideas that become great achievements. We seek opportunities to reach out into the community and offer our services to help our residents make Kent County thrive.
Our relationship is solid, both from a staff standpoint at the county level as well as the Board of Commissioners. And they understand what we do and the benefits that we can do for the community, and vice versa. We couldn't do what we do without the help of Kent County.
While most of us are busy running our lives, Kent County's elected officials, administrator controller, and over 1,600 employees are serving the communities where we live our lives, so we can all have a place we are proud to call home. Kent County, its life well run.
Good evening, everyone. I'm used to saying good morning, so good evening. We are going to get started at 6 on the dot. Welcome, everyone, to the Kent County Board of Commissioners meeting for Thursday, October 10th. Madam Clerk, I'm calling this meeting to order, but Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Commissioners Skaggs. Wooden.
Present.
Womack. Bulkowski.
Present.
Talon.
Here.
Hennessy.
Here.
Melton.
Here.
Sparks.
Present.
Salfeld.
Here.
Breevy.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Voorhees.
Present.
Ponstein.
Here.
Vice Chair Steck.
Here.
Commissioners Jones.
Here.
Morgan. Antor.
Here.
Vonk.
Here.
Chair Bolter.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have 16 members present, 3 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now I'll call in Commissioner Talon for our invocation.
Chair. Some of you may know that I'm an avid recycler. I'm a big fan of the well-known mantra, reduce, reuse, recycle. What you probably don't know is that recycling is what originally got me interested in county government. Around 30 years ago, I spoke at a solid waste planning committee public input session about the need to expand recycling. A TV 13 reporter followed me out of the meeting, and the next night my two sons were on TV taking the lids off of cans and flattening them out to take to a nearby Recycle Unlimited drop-off site. A few of you might remember those sites. So in preparation for today's invocation, I thought I'd see if I could recycle one that I had done in the past. I found one from 2011 that I thought would be appropriate to update and reuse, but wondered if any of you would remember it. So I checked to see who of us was around in 2011. 7 of you were, 11 of you were not. That kind of surprised me. Over half of us, well over half of us, were not members of this board just 8 years ago. It also occurred to me that we probably have a very nice mix of veterans and fresh faces to do our work. But back to the recycling thing, it also occurred to me that if the memories of our veteran commissioners are anything like mine, they're probably not going to remember an invocation from 8 years ago anyway. So will you please join me? Spirit of life, Spirit of love, God of many names and of many nations, we invite your presence among us tonight. We give thanks for the people gathered here, those of us who will make a few decisions today, the county staff who make many more decisions every day, and the many lives that are affected by all those decisions. Be with us, we pray, as we try to decide how to best serve the citizens of Kent County. Be with us, we pray, as we speak, and especially as we listen. Guide our hearts that we may be gentle with each other, even as we are true to what is best in ourselves. Guide our minds that together we may find ways to serve. The residents of Kent County represent many cultures and many faiths. We are old and we are young. We are wealthy, and far too many of us are very poor. Help us to remember that as county commissioners, we are called to serve all of the citizens of Kent County. It's a difficult task. We have different ideas of how to accomplish it. Be with us as we struggle to find the best path forward. God of love and justice, walk with us on this day and on the days that follow. Be with us when we're weary of talking and weary of each other. Remind us that kindness is never wasted, and that love wins more hearts than fear. We humbly ask these things in the name of all that is holy. Shalom, salam, and amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Talon. We are on to item 5 on our agenda, special order of business. I'll call up Matthew Van Zetten and Sandra Ghostin-Jones to give us an update.
Good evening, Commissioners. We're going to try to do a quick blast from the past and tell you and share with you updates from the Family and Children's Coordinating Council and some of our major initiatives over the past few decades in all of about 10 minutes. So let's see what we can do, okay? Many of you might not remember what the Family and Children's Coordinating Council is, but this is a state-mandated body that was created by Governor Engler in the 90s, where the leaders from those institutions and those systems we identified on the slide come together to talk about community needs and how to respond to them. In Kent County, we have a very active Family and Children's Coordinating Council, and you can see that we have there are 5 major initiatives that we've undertaken since 2000. The Prevention Initiative, Kent School Services Network, First Steps, K-Connect, and then West Michigan Partnership for Children. So we're going to provide a brief update on each of those tonight. In 2000, this Board of Commissioners made a pledge and a commitment to funding prevention services to the tune of about $1.8 million annually. And you've honored that through recessions, through good times and bad times. But the funding was dedicated to do primary prevention for those of us, for the youngest of those with early childhood, to do secondary prevention, those people that were referred to child welfare services but didn't have a substantiated case. And then the family engagement program, which was intended to serve those that had substance use issues, but to work with the entire family, not just the individual who is the substance user, but to work with the whole family to strengthen the whole family. And the unique part back in 2000 was that you created a mandate really to do an evaluation of these services to see how effective they were. So we did that. And we did a cost-benefit study, and we did a whole series of program evaluations. And we reported 10 years ago about that. And at the time, we found that Healthy Start and Bright Beginnings had very positive cost-benefit ratios. We found that Early Impact had another significantly high cost-benefit ratio. In our tertiary program, the family engagement program, because we didn't really have a comparison group, we did a program, more of a program evaluation, and we found positive outcomes in shelter and living environments, the health of the family, emotional wellness, and other things. All in all, the Prevention Initiative did an amazing job for the people it serves, and it continues to serve people today, each and every year.
I want to talk with you about the Kent School Services Network. I think most of you have some level of familiarity with KSSN, as it is commonly known. And beyond what you see on the slide here, I want to inform you about some of the things that it does and how it is impactful. It is a great collaboration between the county and Department of Health and Human Services, because there are pathways to potential coaches. We're working with all of the districts across our county. This is one of those rare initiatives where it is covered through the whole border to border for the entire county, and school districts are well represented, as well as the ISD. Some of the services that are provided are related to behavioral health, mental health services. Oftentimes, children come to school with far more than a backpack, with baggage. They have a lot of things that are happening within their homes. There are things that are outside of their control, certainly as a child, but things that impact their learning and being able to learn. KSSN is able to have an impact on not only the mental health services by making sure those services, but also to address issues of chronic absenteeism, where they look to find out, well, why is this child not coming to school? What's happening within this child's life that's preventing them from being able to go to school and get the education that they need? I would encourage you, if you don't know about KSSN, please check out their website. Please, if you would like one of us to intercede for you and make that connection, we'd be happy to do that. Next, we'll talk about K-Connect. Oftentimes people think of K-Connect and think solely about the data. That's a big part of who they are, but they too are collaborators within our community. They work with a wide variety of nonprofit agencies, with the school districts, to provide information that we can all use to make our community better. You can't be impactful if you don't know what the problem is. And K-Connect does a great job of pulling information that other entities can use, problem solve, and identify where issues are. They use a common agenda to ensure that all children in Kent County have a clear path to economic prosperity through the educational initiatives, especially, that they do. Driver of K-Connect is big system change. All about bringing together disparate systems so that they talk to one another and they sharing the data that, again, we all need to make informed decisions. Whipping right through, because I know we have a time crunch. The next is First Steps Commission. It was created by the Coordinating Council many years ago. It is a public-private partnership, and as you all know, they are the administrator of the Ready by 5 Early Childhood Millage. The initial funding has gone through for outreach and assistance in the amount of $2.4 million. And we're very fortunate. We are the only county within the state of Michigan that has an early childhood millage. Other counties are looking at us rather enviously, let's say, it's a wonderful thing for us to have. It's truly a feather in Kent County's cap. So some of the things that they are going to have an impact on include, in addition to the outreach and navigation that I spoke of, or home visiting. It's important that parents who are having children have the supports and that they need. I want every child to be able to start out on an even playing field. There are too many children in our community who don't have that. Also, in this next round, and the RFP was released yesterday, is environmental health, which will be asthma and lead screenings. That will be done in conjunction with the home visiting, because sometimes the home visitor, the person who's doing the home visit, sees things within the home that raise concerns. And if we can tie that together with necessary screenings regarding lead and asthma, for example, we're completely better off for that child to be able to address those things early on. The early learning and intervention services are also part of that RFP. And again, that's all about making sure that we can address issues before they become bigger issues. Children are well prepared and ready for kindergarten and beyond. Resident proposal review process for the RFPs. There are two commissioners, Parks, Commissioner Skaggs. I serve on that board along with several parents. There are 4 parents. We have an early childhood expert. So we try to make sure that we have a wide variety of individuals who are responsible for allocating these dollars. Come from a wide variety of places within our community, whether they be single, married. We wanted to make sure it's representative of Kent County as a whole. People from Sparta, people from Byron Center. Again, it's all inclusive, and we want to make sure that they are making informed decisions when they're allocating these very important dollars. First Steps data platform. The vision is that we would begin this process of services ready by 5 with benchmarks. We want to know, where are we starting? Having that information makes it possible for us to really know whether the outcomes that will be achieved as a part of the funding, are they meaningful? And also to let us know, where can we make the most impact in the shortest amount of time? But again, it all goes back to having those benchmarks to know where we're starting, where are we coming from? Because we know that we can move the needle, but we need to know where we're moving it from.
So last but not least is child welfare. And want to take you on a quick memory jaunt. 4 years ago, this evening, the evening meeting of the Board of Commissioners, I spoke when Chair Saalfeld was there about legislation that we and the county got passed that was going to change how child welfare was funded in Kent County. We had worked to create a cap on our costs, and we were going to take whatever savings that we created and reinvest it into home intervention. We worked with the legislature, the governor, the Department of Health and Human Services, and got that through. And it was all done because the state of Michigan is under a federal consent decree with children's rights. And that is not well known, but it's 2006, the state of Michigan has had a federal consent decree, a judge overseeing our child welfare system and its outcomes. One component of that was a performance-based contract, and that's what we created when we worked with the department and the legislature. Like I said, we capped the county funds. We've invested money in early intervention. Instead of having us front the money, we forward money to the state of Michigan on a quarterly basis so that they can take our money, match the federal money, and then provide a lump sum payment to our friends at West Michigan Partnership for Children as a case rate, to make it nimble and flexible. So we've done that, and 2 years ago we launched it. October 1 of 2017 it was launched. It took us about 2 years to set it up from the time the legislation was created to the day it launched. We did an actuarial plan. We worked with the department to create benchmarks and everything to be performance driven. So what does West Michigan Partnership Children do that's a bit different? Well, it leads the child placing network. So all children referred by DHHS for out-of-home removal, it takes that referral and it works with the 5 placement agencies to figure out the best placement match for that child in Kent County. It has an administrative review committee that has multidisciplinary representatives that review referrals to residential. Children going into residential is something we do not want to see. Not only is it expensive, but it predicts other challenges in the pipeline to prison. Kids have to learn how to make independent choices and decisions. And when you go to a residential placement, your day is structured from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, to what you eat. It is very much regimented. And people like you and I live in family community. We need to learn how to behave in family community and get along with others. So we work as best we can to keep children out of residential placements. Sometimes it's needed for therapeutic reasons, but that is not what we'd like to see. And WMPC spends a day a week at the private agencies looking at who's in temporary shelter, Kids First, who has placement instability to make sure that those children are moving forward to a family-like setting. That is very intentional. That's 3 changes that were made systemically when we set up WMPC. So what's it done? Sandra's going to talk to you about the successes it's had in the past 2 years.
Successes of WMPC have been many. We'll start with the fact that they use a real-time data system, so they know at any point in time where they are with their outcome measures, and they're able to make strategic decisions based on the data evaluation. Mindshare goes into MySACWIS. I think some of you may have MySACWIS. It is the data system that is used by putting that mildly, and as a part of the ongoing monitoring that MDHS is experiencing with MySACWIS has been part of that. In fact, despite the state having invested well over $100 million into this system, the judge has said they need to find an alternative. On the other hand, despite the fact that it is using data from SACWIS, it's able to make that data usable and relevant, and that's a huge. They also have instituted something called enhanced foster care. So there was something that foster home. A child who may have been having some difficulties behaviorally would go. Enhanced foster care takes that to a whole different level. Those foster parents have additional training. They have the supports they need with children who may have behavioral challenges. Children who experience trauma act out in a wide variety of ways, and these foster parents are trained. For kids from residential, they help children come out of residential back into the community and acclimate them to a community setting. Also maintain children with complex needs inside it. Have the additional support, and it makes a huge difference for these children. Anecdotally, WMPC has worked with taking children who have been in residential settings for brought them back out into the community. Additional successes. In the third quarter of FY 2019, they exceeded 9 of 11 key indicators as compared to the state of Michigan. And is a pilot, so they do things a little bit differently. Additional child welfare and foster care. So they're measured against how it works the traditional way across the state, and they are far exceeding the state's measurements as well as some of the federal measurements in terms of benchmark. Work that they have done in 2 short years is nothing short of miraculous. Today, one of the family court judges shared an anecdote about a family where they were experiencing homelessness and had been for a number of years. I will say, being homeless is not a reason for a child to be taken from a home, but there are oftentimes it is one of the mitigating circumstances. In this situation, the child could have returned home had the mom been able to find one. We live in a community richly blessed in lots of different ways, but we are not richly blessed in having affordable housing. And for 3.5 years, children could not be returned to their mother because WNPC created Housing Reunification Advisory Group. Found housing for this family. United the mother with her children. That's something that we can celebrate. Again, it all goes back to the innovations that WNPC is able to do. Matthew spoke of them being nimble. That nimbleness, the ability to be able to make changes very quickly and to be innovative are what's driving some of the success that you see. Placements in residential settings by 5% in 5 quarters. They have increased relative placements. When a child is removed, WNPC works very hard to try and find a relative who might be able to take in that child. Genograms, Facebook, they look for ways to try to keep the child within their environment, if not with a relative, within their community. It's traumatizing to be removed from your family and sent to a foster home where you're living in an environment where people don't look like you, aren't like you. They can do the work within targeted zip codes to keep children in their same school, familiar surroundings. It reduces the trauma. It doesn't eliminate it, but it reduces the trauma on that child. And WNPC has worked very hard to do that work. And within those the highest removal zip codes, they have increased the number of licensed foster homes. They are working with a wide variety of community stakeholders to try to identify foster homes that are minority, that would be culturally the same as one that oftentimes these children come. That is work that we cannot say enough about. Impactful, purposeful, and thoughtful in how they provide child welfare. Asset in our community because
So we spent a little bit more time on WNPC than we probably would have otherwise, but here's the real reason why. In our recent challenges in the legislature with line item vetoes and changes at the state administrative board, the West Michigan Partnership for Children was zeroed out in the administrative board cuts. It was specifically targeted to be eliminated with a $2 million cut by the governor's office. Even though it's had these types of outcomes in the past 2 years. Some people think it is seen as a pet project of some legislators, and that's just frankly not true. This project was worked on by the department, you as okaying public policy changes and supporting that, the court, our CMH, our private agencies, the philanthropy in this town invested money in Mindshare. This has been a long journey. And it's essential for our state to get out of the Children's Right consent decree. We need to provide a model, a performance-based model, and this is the pilot that's being looked at. It's being evaluated by people at the University of Michigan and others to make it work. So as of right now, there's 850 children that are in care and foster care in Kent County that we need to somehow start to transition to something else, because there is not funding as of November 1st. So we're here today. We've met with the coordinating council. We're writing a letter to Governor Whitmer. We are meeting tomorrow with the lieutenant governor, and he's here in town. We've met with our representatives and senators this week to share with them the importance of WNPC. I think it's important for you to know as county commissioners that this is essential service to our community. You as commissioners have invested in child welfare services through your prevention initiative, through your child care fund for years, and done an admirable job of leading. We have the largest in-home care program in the state of Michigan except for Wayne County, and we get good outcomes. So we are working diligently to resolve this. WMPC staff is here tonight. Some of their board members are here tonight. You can talk to them later if you'd like to after the meeting. But we wanted to make sure you're aware of this and what we're doing as leaders on your behalf to work with the governor's office to get the funding to come back to WMPC. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that presentation. Any questions or comments for Matthew or Sandra? Commissioner Milton.
Thank you, Chair. This might not be the right avenue to ask this question, but throughout, I mean, wonderful, sounds like just a wonderful, wonderful program. Something that wasn't mentioned, though, and I don't know if this falls within the realm of what you were talking about, those foster students that age out. And you talked about the affordable housing, which of course is hard for them, but you have an 18-year-old who's still a senior in high school and they've aged out. And again, if this is not the right place, I can...
WMPC works with 311 Housing and other community providers to work with them and the private agencies as well. Center for Community Transformation is doing a lot of really great work with children aging out of foster care to provide real-life work skills so people are independent. So that's part of the reform model.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Sparks.
I'd just like to, as someone who has been through foster care, thank WMPC for the work that you're doing, and hopefully we can find a solution to this. Is very important. This is the future of our community, so thank you for your work.
Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair. I'll add another exclamation point to that, the amazing work that's occurring and pretty innovative. I have a question, and I'm not understanding where the $2 million fits, and maybe that's not a question you can answer now, but that maybe you could provide us some follow-up information about. But, you know, in the big picture of the child care fund, what the state pays, what we pay, where does that $2 million fit in all that?
The $2 million is the administrative cost for WMPC to pay for their staff, for mind share, for the creating the enhanced foster care, for all the compliance that's required with state and federal law. It's the engine, the horsepower, the system change effort to move the system, the accountability that receives all the children. So it's the accountable partner, and their staff and their administrative staff are the ones that then work with the private agencies and hold them accountable for outcomes for the children. So what they've done basically is say the $2 million for your brain, your head, your thinking to drive the outcomes, we're taking that away. So the case rate would go away, the nimbleness would go away, all the reform work that we've done, those people would not be there to do the work. And so that's the $2 million.
If I could just follow up. So the rest of the funding for the program was part of legislation that was approved, but this was not part of that legislation that happened 4 years ago. It was like an additional piece, and that's, I think, the piece that I'm missing. Okay.
It's a little bit complicated. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Moulton. Thank you for all your work. The successes speak for themselves. You listed the 9 indicators that we met. What are the 2 that we didn't meet, and are those concerns for you?
They are concerns. Those that are not met are getting children to the dentist within 30 days of them being placed. And having an initial medical appointment within the 30 days, which is, across the state, that's a difficult one to meet. But they're actively working on that, but those are the 2.
Commissioner Womack.
Yes, I want to thank Matt and Sandra for such a great presentation. And it definitely started out great. But then we come to the end to hear that there may be some funding cuts. I also spent some time at foster care right here in Kent County, so it was great in my upbringing.
It was great in my upbringing just to be in different neighborhoods and be blessed with some great foster parents myself here in Kent County. And now my mic's on. I just want to thank you and Sandra once again for such a great presentation. When you say this $2 million is going to affect the administrative costs, can you just give us a little more data on how many families this will affect, how many children, how many people employed this will affect, and plans of advocating to try to keep this $2 million coming, and what leaders who are concerned about that can do, voices in our community?
So I would encourage you, if you want to talk more, we can talk more about this, but there's roughly, I think, about 12 to 13 people, is that right? 18? 19 staff that work at WMPC. And I would liken it to if you had a health department without an Adam London or a financial leadership group to drive outcomes for any of the other services. You're basically just taking off the head, the thinking, the accountability, and that's what's going away. So the innovative people that are working, that are leading this, that are in the data, that are looking at the trends to try to move the needle for these children and to create the enhanced services. The story that Sandra told you about was one of those changes that they've created. Because we had a case rate, they were able to spend $1,500 in child welfare money to get that family their first month's rent, their last month's rent, and whatnot. In the old model, we couldn't have done that. There wasn't a pot of money to spend to help family get housed. When you have a case rate, you're accountable for the pot of money and for the outcomes, and not just the daily care of a child. And so those are the things that will go away, is the opportunity to be nimble, to create the enhanced foster care model where we can bundle significant services with a foster family. We can pay them more money to take a child so that they can stop their traditional work maybe and just become a permanent foster parent. We can provide mental health services right in the home with that child. Those are the things that are at risk because we don't have the capacity at the top.
Okay, thank you very much, Matt.
Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. First of all, thank you, Matthew, for the report. It's important for us to hear this, but I also know that there's an awful lot of folks behind you that have worked for many years to make what I think is reflective of the kind of innovation and attention to solving problems that this community is capable of doing, and doing in a very unique way. And so I congratulate all of you on that. It is also what makes it so frustrating for anybody who has really looked at how this system functions and how it's worked and the outcomes that it's generated to have it sitting in the balance now because of a budget dispute, and not because the system, not because the programs, not because this initiative isn't successful in making changes in lives, but for some other political reasons. So certainly I join you in hoping that that solution is going to come forthwith and we can move on and do the important work.
Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just struck listening to this. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about the assets of Kent County, whether it's 82 Ionia or 320 Ottawa over here. But hearing, from folks like Matthew and Sandra and good minds for policy combined with a strong heart for the community and for children in the community especially, that's a rare thing, and I think that's the real assets of Kent County, and so I just want to say thank you.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. So my understanding is when it comes to this change that the governor had done, it's potentially effective January 1st? Is it November 1st? So November 1st is when this would impact, correct then?
It's actually, our private agency partners should be appreciated at the table. There's a cash flow challenge already starting, and they're delaying their payments to cash flow this while this is trying to get worked out. So there's already financial impacts to private agencies and others in this community because of this decision. So November 1st is the date, it would be 30 days after the cut, and so the contract. So that's the deadline, but in reality, it's already starting by delayed payments of cash flow to private agencies.
Any other questions for Matthew? I just have a couple comments because this was an issue I worked on a lot in the legislature. Wanted to say that it's unfortunate we have a consent decree that we have to follow, and we have to meet certain criteria, and we have to be able to measure that. And this is what this does. So if you take this away, we will continue to be monitored by other people on the care of our own children. So that's a concern for me with this veto, and I hope that the governor changes her mind quickly. I also wanted to mention and acknowledge our own Wayman Britt on the KSSN work that he did. He was there to start that. And many of us know, but that was taken statewide, and that's a huge, huge thing. And then lastly, I want to acknowledge Matthew. Matthew's heart is clearly here on this, but he and I were together in the trenches when this started, and we agreed we didn't like MySAC was then, so.
That's how we met, right?
Yeah, we could have saved him $100 million. So anyway, thank you for all your work.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yep. On to item 6, public comment related to agenda items. Is there anyone here today for public comment? Come on up. Please state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Hello, good evening. My name is Sherry Williams, and I'm in Rockford. Good evening, Chairperson Bolter and Kent County Commissioners. My name is Sherry Williams, and I'm the Vice President of Regional Operations at Bethany Christian Services here in Kent County. I'm also the Board Chair for the West Michigan Partnership for Children. Thank you for allowing me to comment this evening. Governor Whitmer recently made an administrative transfer stripping $2 million from the DHHS contract with WMPC. This slashes WMPC's entire organizational budget. If this cut stands, this innovative, data-driven pilot organization that has already demonstrated proven results for Kent County kids will shut down operations. Oversight of our county's 850-plus foster children would simply revert back to the state. Early WMPC achievements include decreasing by 5% the length of time children spend in foster care, decreasing by 20% the total number of days children live in institutional care per year, as you've heard, and my personal favorite, increasing by 65% the number of licensed foster homes in the 3 Kent County zip codes with the highest child removal rates. WMPC is also meeting or exceeding statewide performance in 10 out of the 11 indicators required by the state's exit plan for the consent decree. I'd like to end by telling you about Jamal. Jamal was only 3 days old when he came into foster care with Bethany recently. Due to the innovation WMPC's model has allowed Bethany, we were able to hire a foster home recruiter who she herself grew up in the 49507 zip code, and who herself had also lived in foster care as a child. Our amazing recruiter has ignited a passion within her own community to lean in on behalf of Kent County kids who need safe care. Due to this, Bethany has grown our licensed foster homes in these high removal areas from 10 to 17. So we've almost doubled that in partnership with WMPC. Prior to WMPC, this newborn would have likely been placed far away from his home community, away from public transportation, seemingly in another world from his home. But since he remains in his own community, this affords his mother the opportunity to visit with him frequently, to bond with him in these critical early days, weeks, and months in hopes that they will be reunified soon. Again, this is only possible because of the innovative funding and practice models allowed to us through the WMPC model. And the research shows that keeping kids in their own community directly ties to getting kids home more safely and more quickly. So Chairperson Bolter and Commissioners, Kent County is leading the state in its child welfare performance, and we don't want to go back. I believe WMPC's innovative results are a blueprint for the state and modeling what child welfare can look like. And I urge you all in your communications with the governor and legislature to emphasize the need to restore 100% of this critical funding.
Thank you for being here tonight. Any other public comment today regarding the agenda? All right, seeing none, we are moving on to item 7, consent agenda, and I'll call on Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I move approval of the consent agenda, which includes minutes from our last meeting, the report of claims and allowances from the Finance Committee meeting of October 1, and establishing a public hearing date for our proposed 2020 county budget and millage rate.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Talon, support by Commissioner Jones. Questions or comments on this? All right, seeing none, this is a roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt the consent agenda, Commissioners Skaggs.
Yes.
Wooden.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Bilkowski.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Sparks.
Yes.
Salfeld.
Yes.
Breivy.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck.
Yes.
Commissioners Jones.
Yes.
Morgan. Antor.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 18 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. The consent agenda is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. On to item 8A, and I will call on Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. It is my honor to move approval of Resolution 10-1019-95, which calls for the appropriation of additional $120,000 for 2019 senior millage budget from the senior millage fund revenues. And having sat on that revenue allocation committee this week for many days, it's very appropriate to make that motion now.
Moved by
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Steck, supported by Commissioner Coleman. Questions or comments? Seeing none, this is a roll call. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 10-10-1995, Commissioners Skaggs.
Yes.
Wooden.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Bilkowski.
Abstain.
Commissioner Talon.
Yes.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Sparks.
Yes.
Salfeld.
Yes.
Breivy.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck.
Yes.
Commissioners Jones.
Yes.
Morgan. Antor.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 17 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. The motion passes. The resolution 10-10-1995 is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are on to item 8B, and I will call on Commissioner Breivy.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 96 of today's date, the authorization of the winter 2019 dedicated millage property tax levy from the Board of Commissioners and Fiscal Services.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Breivy, support by Commissioner Salfeld. Questions or comments? Seeing none, this is a roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 10-10-1996, Commissioners Skaggs.
Yes.
Wooden.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Bilkowski.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Sparks.
Yes.
Salfeld.
Yes.
Breivy.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck.
Yes.
Commissioners Jones.
Yes.
Morgan. Antor.
Yes.
Vonk.
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 18 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 10-10-1996 is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are on to item 8C, and I will call on Commissioner Voorhees.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move Resolution 97 of today's date. And it's from, and for the authorization and issuance of the Kent Hospital Finance Authority revenue bonds for Spectrum Health System. Comes to us from Fiscal Services.
Moved by Commissioner Voorhees, support by Commissioner Wooden.
Support.
Questions or comments? Commissioner Coleman?
Just to confirm, the way I read this is we're authorizing this, but it's not on the county's balance sheet.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Voorhees?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bolton, for a comment, please. I would request that, and thank Spectrum Health in allowing their senior vice president to work with Commissioner Hennessy and I on the board. If Lori, if you would stand a minute, please. Lori Smith is the senior vice president of the corporation in Treasury and Office, and she not only brings her great experience and education in the field, she brings a smile and really lifts up the whole, when the board's together, we know that Lori's there, and we're thankful for that. So thank you above all, Lori, and thank you, Spectrum Health.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments on this resolution? I just have one. I have to abstain because they're my employer. All right, seeing none, this is not a roll call. I guess I'm not officially abstaining, but I'm unofficially abstaining. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstain? All right. On to item 8D. I will call on Commissioner Bolkowski.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move Resolution 98 of today's date, which is approved funding from the Department of Health and Human Services, and add one public health nurse and one outreach worker position.
Moved by Commissioner Bolkowski, support by Commissioner Breve. Questions or comments? Commissioner Bolkowski.
Just to make a quick comment, you know, that the title of the resolution is pretty mundane. However, this is related to funding that is addressing folks who are living with HIV/AIDS. Since Commissioner Talon invited us to remember the old days, I won't label them the good days related to HIV/AIDS, because, you know, 35 years ago, it was a scourge, and then now it's just kind of, you know, it gets forgotten. So, I mean, we're still reaching out to folks and hopefully to continue to work on prevention of this terrible disease.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, this is a roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On a motion to adopt Resolution 1010-1998, Commissioners Skaggs.
Yes.
Wooden.
Yes.
Womack.
Yes.
Volkowski.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Sparks.
Yes.
Salfeld.
Yes.
Breve.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Ponstein.
Yes.
Vice Chair Steck.
Yes.
Commissioners Jones.
Yes.
Morgan. Antor. Vonk.
Yes.
Chair Bolter.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 18 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 1010-1918 is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are on to item 9 on our agenda, public comment on general county matters. Anyone here for public comment today? All right, seeing none, on to Commissioner reports. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair Bolter. On a very challenging note, I just wanted to recognize the passing of a board member from Experience Grand Rapids. So Kathy Warnako passed away suddenly this weekend. She worked at Steelcase for 34 years. She was a board member of Experience Grand Rapids, and we're certainly going to feel that loss, and we'll miss her quite a bit. And just prayers for her family as they grieve this and manage through it, because none of this was expected. Thanks.
Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair. I think yesterday was the shortest Grand Rapids Downtown Development Authority meeting I've ever been at. We did approve a couple of expenditures, one for winter lighting, which I hope many of you have enjoyed the way downtown has been lit up the last few years, and that will continue. The other was approval of a retail innovation support grant for the DDA has, or DGRI has a program that tries to support entrepreneurs moving into retail in the downtown. And this was a really interesting entrepreneur who is a custom suit tailor operating out of his home in Kentwood, and will be moving into commercial space in the 300 block of Division. Really exciting project. If any of you have a need for custom tailored suits, my understanding, and the person that presented the proposal to us had one of those suits on, and it was impressive. Check it out. He will be in that 300 block, and you can check it out on MLive as well. There was a story about him. Quite a great story.
Great.
Thank you.
Commissioner Breve.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I just wanted to give a quick report on the Grand Rapids Public Museum Board. We met yesterday, and as always, there's always interesting things going on at the museum. So overall, attendance for this past year was up by about 11,000, with 257,538 visitors. And so in 2018, it was 11,000 less. In 2017, 27,000 less. So The millage has really helped bring more people in and experience the culture that they provide. So a couple upcoming exhibits that are pretty exciting. On October 19th, the Design Zone exhibit opens up, and there's plenty of opportunities for STEM education there. And then on November 7th, there's the Legacy Gala, and we always honor community members for that. There's still tickets available. If anyone would like to attend, just let me know. And then finally, the Bodies Revealed exhibit is back. I think it was about 10, 12 years ago that it was here in town. So definitely something very interesting to see if you're interested in science and the human body. So that will start on November 16th. So let me know if you'd like to attend. I'll be happy to go with you.
Commissioner Sparks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to, in the spirit of Kent County, say congratulations to the Hispanic Heritage Month that we're all celebrating. They have their annual celebration tonight, so congratulations. Also, lots of Halloween things coming up for Kentwood and Wyoming. So we want everybody to be safe. We have the Haunt, which is a huge attraction that just landed in Wyoming. They expect about 12,000 visitors, so that's going to be too scary for you? It's gonna be amazing. So lots of things there. Also, Van Mar is opening October 25th, and Cheesecake Factory next month in the city of Kentwood. Next week, we also have the NAACP Freedom Fund event. Thank you.
Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. Just a brief report on what's going on at the Lakeshore Regional Entity. We continue with representatives from the Lakeshore Regional Entity, Beacon Health Options, and Network 180, and our CMH partners to meet with representatives from the state. We've had a series of negotiations with them, and they are positive. So we look forward to continuing to work towards preserving the essence of this public-private partnership that we have worked on establishing. Preliminarily, it does appear that they are willing to look at some form of that as being the most appropriate method of administering these funds. So we remain cautiously optimistic that we'll reach an agreement with the state.
Great. Any other official reports tonight? Commissioner Coleman.
So this week has been the Senior Millage Committee meeting, so Commissioners Hennessy, Steck, myself, Assistant Administrator Van Zanten, and others have spent a quality 25 hours together so far this week. And the process has been great. As usual, the Area Agency on Aging does a fantastic job organizing that, and some tough decisions as healthcare salaries and whatnot. There's upward pressures on that, and a growing senior population in Kent County. So, but I think the process has been great, and the funding will go to much-needed services.
Great. Any other official reports? One more official report.
Sure, just one follow-up. It is the fastest I've spent $12 million in my life. So.
All right, we're on to item 11, miscellaneous. Commissioner Breivy.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. I just have something I'm excited about. This coming weekend, my grandparents will be celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary. So they're both 95. They live in their own home. We had them on Meals on Wheels for a little while, so thanks to the senior millage. They decided they like to cook for themselves and go out. But it'll be a great time for family, but what a great testament to their faithfulness and love. So 70 years, and they're 95 years old, so. Thanks.
We've got good genetics. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to recognize Adam London and the Health Department, and this is a fabulous broken record to continue to hit between Triple E and his planning and assistance with that. The big section of Oakfield had the spraying with the confirmed deer that had Triple E out there, and he was very proactive. He was on the phone with me on that Friday night at 9:45, so I'm really grateful that he doesn't sleep much. And then you add even tonight, where I had a supervisor in my district call with some issues, long-term issues with neighbors and dogs, and he was very helpful, and I am just really grateful for how proactive and accessible he is. And, when it comes to government, there are these moments where we do things really well. So even though government has its challenges, I will say that these moments really help government shine because it can work. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. Quickly, this past week, I had an opportunity to visit the White House for the second time. I just wanted to assure everyone that, yes, my stand-up question about the national debt was presented to the Director of Budget of Office and Management. It's the typical answer I get when I'm in Washington on that issue is it's something we don't have to worry about yet. But just want to let everyone know that, yes, I'm an equal opportunity, I guess, offender. I have 140 witnesses. I also had a chance to talk to Secretary of Transportation. I was representing Kent County, but I was also representing the 83 counties of Michigan. I let them know the importance of not only the Sioux Locks, but the Windsor Bridge on commerce and transporting that commerce. I know there was a SMART meeting this week. Wednesday's a tough day to go, but I think everyone got the email from MAC listing what the legislative priorities and what they're working at in our Government Affairs Office. It's a really nice, easy template to read. So if you get that, that'd be great. And also, the bills for the 4-year terms of county commissioners are in hearing at this time. We've had testimony on behalf of MAC. There's an easy link on the MAC website or an email you should have got where you just have to type in your name and there's already a form letter that goes out. I've already got responses from all of my reps, so if you have time, just do that quickly. Thank you.
Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Bolter. Probably many of you know that today is National Mental Health Awareness Day. So in acknowledgement of that, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the many agencies and individuals in this community that do incredible work in dealing with the behavioral health challenges of our citizens. We have a plethora of agencies that have incredible capacity and competency in caring for our community, and I think we need to be very proud of them and acknowledge them.
Thank you. Commissioner Melton.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted, we met several times at Chair Jones of the Finance Committee to go through the budget, and I don't know that it has been noted publicly how hard we work when we do look at the budget for the county. And I want to thank Chair Jones and all of the staff. All of our questions, for the most part, were answered. Any question that I had, and I know I have probably more challenges than most when it comes to money dealings, they were all answered to the best of anyone's ability. And it's just, again, it makes it so much easier to come in and make some of those hard decisions when you know that you are working with people who will go that extra mile to find out the information for you. So thank you to everyone who was involved in that.
Great. Commissioner Bolkowski.
Thank you, Chair. Two quick things. On the happy side, yesterday was the ribbon cutting and open house at the new home for a group called Artists Creating Together. It's an art entity helping folks with disabilities express themselves and expand their quality of life. Their executive, Angela Steele, and their board and staff and all the artists do a fantastic job. So it's a great community asset on North Monroe. And then on the not as happy side, I also echo the earlier calls for the administration, our legislative leaders, to get back to the table and figure out this budget, because there are other issues that impact the county, mental health, Little Disability Advocates Kent County, and many others. So just everybody get together, and it's the year started 10 days ago. So let's go. Thank you.
Any other miscellaneous tonight? All right, seeing none, I will call on Commissioner Talon for a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Chair. I move to adjourn, subject to your call, to Thursday, October 24, 2019, at 8:30 a.m. for an official meeting.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Coleman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? We're adjourned.
I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
We are 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 Kent County.
Peya, Kent County. Ami, Kent County.
Somos, Kent County.
Mas Ira, Kent County.
We are Kent County.
We are Kent County. We are Kent County. Oh yeah.